ladies and gents, good evening and welcome to another Live and Laois show. Delighted to be joined by two young gentlemen, one a Laois man, one a Cork man, Keith Finn and Conor Fitzgerald. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
How are things?
Not too bad.
How are you?
Yourself, how are you getting on?
Great. Thanks, lads. Now, Keith, we'll go to you first because you're the Laois man in the house, the only of the three of us, the only one. And what's your background, Keith?
Well, Jez, I'll keep it sweet because I'm not on the planet a long time, I suppose. But just in college there in UL for 4 years doing product design. I moved down to Cork then thereafter for a couple of years, and I found myself now up in Galway. So I'm kind of doing a bit of travelling really within Ireland itself. Doing design at the moment, design engineering. It's a good role up in Galway here, designing car batteries basically of the future, not the ones that you keep in your engine now, but the actual powertrain itself. So very interesting, yeah. So a Laois man, born in Portlaoise. Played for Ratnesca GA when I was younger. So yeah, just you're keeping the best side out really at the moment,
Absolutely. Now, and Keith, I've learned that you can bore people about design and cycling. Is that true?
That's a hidden talent of mine. Yeah, just boring people to death really about both of those. But yeah, cycling is my background. I would have done it to a reasonable good level in Ireland anyway, I suppose. And then yeah, design as well. So if you want to learn a bit more about that, I could talk to you all night about it.
I think you're being a bit modest about the cycling, aren't you?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. It's I've done it for a long time. I think a few sports people in Laois and Portlaoise would have known the true level I would have got to, but it kind of went under the radar, I suppose, for a couple of years within Laois and in the Midlands. But yeah, really enjoyable, huge commitment, obviously, like any sport. I kind of finished up maybe in 2018, 2017, at a national level. And thereafter then I found the social life, let's say, for the last 4 years. And that's kind of been me,
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. I was explaining to Conor off camera there. I went to college in Galway. So
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
I haven't been able to see the true Galway yet now because, with COVID and stuff like that, everyone's still locked up. But I'm looking forward to it now. We're opening up a little bit. You can almost see it a little bit in the evenings there in South Hill, even after work. There's a lot of people starting to, accumulate,
Yeah, it's badly needed. People want to get back to some kind of normal.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You can see it there. Yeah, it's almost in the air,
Yeah, and especially Galway. It's just there's something special about the place. There really is.
Absolutely.
And Conor, over to you, the Cork man in the house. What's your background, and then how did you end up meeting Keith?
So basically, so I'm a Cork man. I'm not going to say born and bred because I was originally born in London, but I've been living in Cork since I was 3, so basically majority of my life. But just finishing up in UCC now this year, doing an art degree in English history. I met Keith, so I'm a qualified personal trainer. I met Keith last year when I was working in the gym down in Middleton, randomly enough. So I saw him training a bit, and I think one day he was training away and got chatting over one thing or another. And from there, then we just got chatting as he came in a bit more every day, really, basically. And then one day we just decided to go for a few drinks. And from there, then, I'd say we were onto each other the whole time. And it just kind of developed out of nothing, really, it's very unusual, obviously. But like we clicked straight away. We're very similar character, similar interests as well. And yeah, it just kind of came from there. And we'd meet up every now and again, get a coffee, buy tweet or something like that. But we just very, 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 very similar kind of ways of thinking and stuff like that. And we just kind of clicked straight away. There was just a good connection friend-wise straight away. And so it was about, I'd say nearly 2 years ago now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, about 2 years ago.
September 2019.
I was going to say about the drink part. When we went for a drink, this is almost the beginning of the end.
Yeah, pretty much. But
lads, can you give us the clean version of that? Did you go mad?
Yeah, but sure.
pretty much. Sure, we could just go for 2 or 3 points.
No.
We can, we had the 2 or 3 points, and then the drink talk started happening then, and then we woke up the next morning. Yeah, the whiskey cracked open, and then
the whiskey.
we were
chatting. Lucky to wake up the following morning, man. I think.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that was Keith's fault now though, because Keith is an absolute murder for the Jameson when he's on it. So
that's definitely a Finn.
That's where that came from. Yeah,
Finn thing, Finn thing in Laois I think there's all whiskey.
But I think it was a very it just kind of came out of nowhere, which is, it's not a bad thing at all. Like, it's obviously turned out to be a very good thing. But yeah, it was kind of random almost, but a good random.
Yeah, exactly.
A good random. So lads, I mean, 100%. So now is the time to ask you favorite pubs.
Favorite pubs.
Yeah.
The Sportsman on Barrack Street in Cork, by UCC, one of my favorite pubs. We've gone to a few. Deep South in Cork, we went there Jazz Weekend, didn't we?
I was going to say that Deep South is definitely a shout.
Yeah,
there's a good one. Deep South is definitely a shout.
South in Cork. Deep South in Cork City. These are, I can name 10 in Cork. I'm a big fan of Reardon's in Cork City, obviously. Good spot.
There's loads of good ones.
How long have you got? There's plenty of them in Cork now.
It's a great city, to be fair. Yeah.
It's good for nightlife. I must go up to Keith now, right? Though, to Galway. I've never been to Galway before, so I must go up and explore that nightlife.
Yeah, it's almost like Cork people's second home is almost Galway. I don't know. Every time I've said it to Cork people, oh yeah, I'm moving up to Galway or whatever like that, it always sparks a really good reaction amongst them. I don't know what it is.
Definitely. The courtyard as well inside the city centre, a great beer garden, and the Woolshed as well. Maybe my kind of top 4 or 5 pubs in Cork anyway.
Yeah, you picked some good ones there.
Yeah, definitely.
Keith, it helps to have the local inside knowledge.
Jesus Christ. I don't know, I can't remember the last time I've gone out in the beer in Portlaoise. That's the God honest truth. Like, being in Cork for the last couple of years now in Galway, I'm never really truly home. If I go home, I go out with my granny, which is gas, because she's a big drinker and she drinks in Hume's. So if I'm on the beer, she'd be down there, like,
Yeah. We're counting the hours, the days, the seconds before we can go back.
100%.
Yeah.
That's one thing we must do as well. I must go up to Laois for a night out as well.
That's it. Yeah.
Explore the Midlands.
Yeah. Well, there's some great ones. You go from the fisherman, to go from the Fisherman's Inn all the way up to Lar Hogan's up in Coolrain, Hogan's Bar. Some great ones. Yeah, really
definitely have to go up there for a look anyway. 100%.
Well, here's a suggestion. We could do a podcast and do like 5 minutes from each pub and stitch them all together for one podcast.
Absolutely. But you have to be some way sober at the last one.
That's it. It'd be like 12 pubs a podcast.
Yeah, 12 pubs a podcast. Well, actually, we'll name it that. That
would be, lads, off you go. Perfect. You'd be brilliant at it. You'd be brilliant at it. Because the two of you have, I was saying to Conor off camera, Keith, the two of you spark off each other really, really well. You come across very, very natural. So, which leads me on to the next obvious question. Who had the idea for the podcast?
I suppose we were talking about it for a long time, weren't we, Conor?
Yeah, like, I think it was kind of before Christmas, maybe November. We were having a chat one night, and I think we were just saying, it'd be good crack to do a podcast, like, sit down and have a chat about different things or whatever. And then we had another chat, I'd say, just for New Year's, when we were heavy on the drink that night. But then we woke up sober and we were like, we'll have a crack off it. And I'd say it was about 6 weeks ago. We were like, right, we'll just get the gear and we'll sort it out and we'll try and do it and go for it. And it was just a matter of kind of like basically putting pen to paper and saying, right, we'll do it. But what was the actual reasoning? Because I can't remember fully.
I remember walking into Douglas one of the days and I was saying to you, like, Jesus, we actually have decent enough conversations. Imagine if someone was listening to it. And we're like,
exactly.
What if we recorded it and put it up like as a podcast? And I think it kind of came off the back of that. And then I said to one of the days, like, Laymen would be a really good name for something, but I don't know what. And then it kind of almost sparked as like podcast Laymen. Let's go.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
because when like I didn't really hear of the term layman fully until you explained it to me, and I was like, that is absolutely perfect for what we'd be doing, because obviously we don't have qualifications in a lot of or all of the stuff we're talking about, but we always, like you said, we always do have absolute like we very interesting conversations, and I think other people would be interested in it as well. So I think that's where I kind of start from.
It's like it's almost like we're able to, well, like before the podcast we were able to like have unopinionated ways of going about doing it. Maybe that's the right way of saying it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As this like we're able to look at it different views, and I think that brings a good dynamic to any podcast, because no one wants to listen to someone with a heavy head going on about one opinion. Like I know myself, if I was listening to something, I'd like to hear every angle to it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we kind of like you said, like we said we wanted to kind of medium for as many people as we could. So like with the X there now, there was an angle of a load of different people giving their own different opinions, and then we were kind of given like, you know, having a little chat about that and what we thought of it, you know. So it's kind of it's variated big time, which is I think is a good thing, because if you kind of define or refine yourself to one kind of area or segment or sector, you're leaving yourself very limited to kind of listeners then as well, like, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, the first podcast, basically, you're introducing yourselves to the world and what you're going to talk about. The second podcast, I was listening to it this evening, the ick. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And of course, again, gents, I was explaining off camera, I'd never heard the expression used in that way. It's like a turn off.
Yeah. So
Conor,
it's more of a millennial turn off, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, I was going to say Conor is definitely the best explainer of the two of us anyway. So I am fucking used to that. So
I'm studying English, so I'd want to be. So like I was saying to off camera to John, like it's basically like it's more of a millennial term, like a big turn off, but like it's very specific things that someone could be turned off. Like John was saying, he listened to some of them about like obviously like something like a snotty nose would be a turn off and stuff like that. But some girls gave some really, really specific kind of things that they didn't like. It's off the top of my head, like
crossing legs,
which I'm doing right now, by the way.
Because it's comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I find it comfortable, so I've no problem doing it. But like things like pressing the button and waiting for the green man, stuff like that. Like it's very hard to understand stuff like that.
A big one that I've got feedback on the ick. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's listened. But there was one that was like eating sweet corn off the cob.
Yeah, and corn on the cob.
That seems to be such a controversial one. Like anyone that's listened to it, that's a girl, has come up to me and was like, "What the? Like, how do you even comment to that? Like, who wrote that in?" But sure, obviously, we're not giving away any names, but still, like, it's just there's some ridiculous ones on it, like.
Yeah, I think that's what made it more interesting. Like messy hands and stuff like that. I think people would get a turn off from that. But
and the spaghetti around the mouth.
I kind of agree with that now, to be honest. But at the same time, I don't know. It's some of them are very like up for debate, but some of them are very, very picky then as well.
I think what we concluded from the podcast is both me and Conor are walking, talking icks. And there's nothing we can really do about that, to be honest.
Nothing we can do, and nothing I want to do about it either, because this is who I am. So exactly.
You're happy in your own skin, Conor.
Happy in my own skin, exactly. And
don't
like
change.
Keith said as well. Yeah, exactly. But it was just like that was quite an interesting one for both of us, because it was just seeing what people said and thinking, like reading a few of them and thinking, Jesus, like what, like for them to come to that conclusion that turns them off someone, what, like, you know, just how people's minds work, basically. It was funny one though. It was fun to record as well.
Yeah, and the whole idea of the podcast kind of going forward and on the basis of icks is that like it was heavily suggested to us to do it. So we're trying our best not to think, well, like we'll think of our own ideas and so on and so forth, but where we can, we're taking as many recommendations from people and what people would like to listen to, instead of persuading them with our own kind of like train of thought. So we're just trying to provide a medium for people to listen to something very freely, you know, and it's very fluid at the minute, like, you know.
Yeah,
very
exactly,
fluid.
100%.
But you could end up the dating gurus. I'm telling you.
Well, like, do you know what? Yeah, I'll take it if it comes like.
Yeah, laymen.
If there's a niche to be had, like, and it's needed. No, I don't know. It's just a bit of crack, really. Like, isn't it? It's a bit of a laugh. It's fun, like.
It is.
It's great crack. Yeah, it is, and it's so good to get it off your chest as well. Like,
100%.
Like a big thing. A big thing, like I've learned over the last few years, is you shouldn't really be worried too much about what people are thinking of you or what you're saying. And I think like this was a massive step forward for both of us, in such a sense that like we really are taking that by the bull by the horns and saying like, listen, this is going out to anyone on Spotify that wants to listen back and just, take us at face value, really. So it's good. It's good in that way a lot for me anyway.
Yeah, but it's a huge step. But I mean, like the 6 weeks between basically planning and then putting out the first podcast. I mean, you had to figure out all the equipment stuff.
Yeah.
Did
you get any help?
No, Pete, you kind of sorted that out, to be fair.
Yeah.
Pete's very good at the technical side.
And you're very good at explaining side. So
it works well that way.
It works well that way. But I started from nothing. I'm not a sound engineer. I have no idea what I was doing, but faking it until we make it. I do a big believer in that, so we got nice gear. You only have one chance to make an impression, and like we both agreed that if we put out a first podcast and the audio is shit, people are going to turn off because of the audio, not from what's being said. So in that sense, we didn't want that happening,
Yeah.
And like I'm going to put it to you there, lads, that when this pandemic shite is over with, like people would pay big money to watch the two of you go around Galway and then Cork virtually.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to go up to Galway when I can, and we're going to record up there. But I think that whole videoing crack as well, like kind of going around, like even to go around Galway City or Cork City doing something, I think that would be funny. I think it would make for a different kind of watch as well for people. But 100%, yeah, definitely. I think you'd agree as well, yeah.
100%. Great idea.
It'd be something different, even going around asking a few like locals certain questions or stuff like that and recording that. I think it would make for good watch anyway, definitely. But I think it's something we're definitely thinking about in the future anyway.
Yeah, 100%. We kind of have an idea of what we're going to do now for the third episode. But like it's just going back to that finally, we're watching the analytics and it's blowing up compared to our first episode. It seems to have got a lot of traction. Last week we started and we only had our first episode and it was in the Ireland top charts of the week for every day of last week, which is like the most listened to podcast in Ireland that don't have to be made in Ireland but globally, which was like we couldn't believe it. I remember texting you all last week.
It was nuts. I was like, we get a few listens, like maybe 100, but like it did go it went really well, which I was so happy about.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
He texted me one day and he was like, we're in the 180th in the country. And I was like, what? And then a day later, we're 119th or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't, it was a bit surreal, to be honest, because I was like, no way has got that good of a response within 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But it was such a good feeling though.
Oh, unbelievable. Undescribable.
Yeah, definitely. But
and gents, and were there any podcasts that you listened to that you said, we could do something similar or we could do something even better?
We didn't really, did we?
No, I don't really listen to a whole lot of podcasts. And the main reason is that myself personally is that anyone's maybe I was looking for, it's very hard opinionated. And in Ireland in particular, there's the two Johnnies, which are probably the most known. But thereafter, I can't think of anything to my head that I wanted to listen to that was very easy to listen to. Do you know, it's almost like watching a film on Netflix. There's the easy films to watch on Netflix, and then there's the ones that, I need your attention span now to follow the film. But that was my opinion anyway, at least, If
I was to listen to a podcast now, I'd listen to Joe Rogan a bit. I loved he did what good one like Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk and like kind of a few gang like that.
Yes.
But I'd listened to a few like Peter Crouch has a good podcast as well. I've listened to one or two of them. They're good crack like. But
he's funny.
There was he's a gas man like. But there was none that I kind of really looked at and was like, right, I think that's a good structure to go on. I think we're kind of just thinking as we go, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we can kind of fix it that kind of way. We're not kind of like making a foundation based off other podcasts. Really, we're kind of trying to think our own way. Really.
Yeah, the reason why I asked the question, I mean, to me, and I mean, obviously, I've only listened to you twice. You don't seem to be influenced by anyone else.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we're aiming for. Like, we didn't really have a main goal at the start. Really, we just want to do it for a bit of crack, but we don't really want to. We don't want to be shadowing someone else, kind of that kind of way.
No. We're being very real in front of the mic. Like, anyone that's listening to us, I guarantee you, they're all saying, "Jesus, what a set of newbies." But I'd rather keep it that way. Do you know that type of thing?
100%.
It's so uncut. The first episode we done it in one take. The second episode we done it in one take. There's no interruptions. It's just literally press record, finish, upload.
And whatever happens.
That's it. Like,
this is
it.
Yeah. This is it. Oh, I have another concept for you, lads. You'd be brilliant at this too. Again, the pub crawl, but you're taking a celebrity on the pub crawl.
A celebrity?
Oh, yeah. Like Tommy Tiernan. Take Tommy Tiernan around Galway.
Oh, he lives in Galway, doesn't he? I'd absolutely bring him on the tear. I would 100% bring him on the tear.
I think he'd bring us on the tear, man.
Yeah, he'd drag us around. Yeah, man. Yeah. If that would be hilarious if we could get someone like that.
I was only thinking of that the other day, who we could get on as a guest or something like that. But I think like our mission at the minute is that like only people within our social networks really know about us, because there's no and like we didn't set out to get anything more than that, to be fair. Do you know? But like people seem to be enjoying it, so I'd be happy just to get into more people's hands to listen to it for the crack more so than anything. Do you know, this type of thing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I think down the line we'd like to get a few people on about, you know, people from all different areas, all walks of life, that kind of way. But I think for the moment we just kind of want to not wing it, but like do our own thing for a while and get it, like you say, get it into as many people's hands, and then see where we go from there. You know, take it step by step, basically.
Yeah, nice and loose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want anything too rigid, really. Like,
you
know.
And lads, can you give us a spoiler for the third podcast?
Do you want to? You know what we're doing.
You're the explainer, man. You're the best man for this.
So, an example now of something that will be talked about is, when you're in primary school and the teacher wheels in the television. Do you know, when you're in primary school and the teacher wheels in trolley with a television on it? That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make of that what you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like a now versus then.
Yeah, like a nostalgia kind of episode, really.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it.
Almost. Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Like, you know, again, it's a requested one, so we'll see how it goes. You know, but hopefully in another 2 weeks' time now that'll go up. Like, X is still kind of being talked about.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we want to feed that out a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, the nostalgia one will work well. You should have old farts like me on going, well, in my day we had one channel and it only started at 5 o'clock in the evening.
Hey, you can be our first guest if you like. There's no hassle.
Well, we did only have one channel. I remember, unfortunately, I'm that old. We had one channel and it started, I think it was 5 o'clock. And then we had RT2, and that was a huge thing to have two channels. And that started, I think around the same time. Yeah.
It's gas. I looked one up the other day. And it was just like, do you remember L'Oreal Kids fucking hair shampoo? And it was like it was the biggest lie of our life, like being told that you give no tears, like to think burnt like acid when you wet your hair.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
there's another podcast for you. Lies, advertising lies, marketing lies.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
Definitely.
exactly. The biggest write-off advertising.
One bit of feedback as well, Keith, you know this as well. Apparently, we have certain things that we say a lot throughout each podcast. So one of them was we both say 100% a lot, apparently.
Yeah.
And we say man as well. So like, oh man, like come on, man.
Yeah.
So I think we're like, it's not that we're gonna dwindle down on it, but we might have to keep an eye on it because it could come to a stage where every second sentence is saying two of those words. So
I think it's definitely a big part of that is nerves, 100%.
Yeah, and definitely. 100%, yeah.
But that's your calling card. Like I just go absolutely.
Yeah. That's exactly.
That's a leash thing. Don't worry about it. That's a leash thing.
Yeah.
It could be our own little kind of signature line or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Might get a trending maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Yeah. Don't change, lads. Don't change.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't change.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll do the video. Pub crawl. You have to do Laois. You have to do Galway. And you have to do Cork City.
100%.
You might head out to Kinsale as well, Conor.
Yeah, because I've a mobile home, like I was saying to you before we started, just down the road, and there's enough pubs in Kinsale to keep us going. So that's something we could definitely do. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, try.
Yeah.
It would be funny to see the difference in what we talk from.
Yeah.
If we say like 5 minutes per pub, and we do 12 pubs, so 5 12s is about 60.
That'll
so
be
60,
an hour.
That'll be Yeah, so the difference between each 5 minutes the whole way through the podcast I'd say be fairly entertaining. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you have to be some way coherent at the end, like,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I need to stop saying that now.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm telling you, people will just love it because it's you're a lot of mainstream media. It's very sanitized.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you two, you drop the F-bomb in there.
Yeah. I think
you don't get it. You don't get it on mainstream media.
Yeah, I think like a few people said it to me after the first one that I was cursing a lot, but I think like the first 10 minutes of the first episode we were a bit nervous, but once the conversation started flowing, I was just I was being myself, and I'd have quite a loose tongue as it is. So that's where that kind of came from. And I was just like, look, it is what it is. That's just the way I am. But like you said, you don't get much of that on mainstream. So I'm not bothered. Like, it wouldn't faze me. Like, I wouldn't be bothered about it.
No, like if that stuff bothered us, we wouldn't have done a podcast in the first place. Let's put it that way.
But I think, exactly.
So like there's no point trying to filter your talk that way. Like,
it comes across a bit rigid.
Yeah, well, that, and you're not being true to yourself either. Do you know what I mean? If people don't want to listen to you because you're cursing a little bit too much or you're doing this, but that's fine. Other people might like it, so that's just kind of the way it is. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I have to say to our wonderful viewers, will you check out the podcast? There's 2 of them already, especially the Ick.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good. Go on, Keith. Yeah, jump in.
No. It's for one thing that said to me during the week is how do we get you? Like, how do we look up at Spotify without the link or whatever like that?
Yeah.
I never even thought of it. I actually never even thought of it. So I was like, literally just type in Laymen in Spotify, and it should come up as a podcast under the little genre, or you'll see Keith, Finn, and Conor Fitzgerald as a tag as well. So it's very short and sweet, but you should get us there.
Yeah. And we'll have the links up as well here on screen. So we want everyone to go and check you out, lads.
Thanks a minute, John.
Thanks a minute.
Definitely Keith, when you do bring Conor back to Laois, we'll organise the pub crawl, and you have 5 minutes and 12 pubs around Laois. It'll be.
Is there 12 pubs in Laois?
No. there must be 100. There must be 100. I don't know. Well, Portlaoise alone would. Well, it had a lot more. You see, you just don't know what's going to happen after the pandemic is over. Exactly, like who's going to reopen? So you just hopefully they'll all be able to reopen.
Definitely.
We'll just see.
We'll be swinging by your house anyway, John, for the first pint. So don't worry about it.
Drag you out for a few pints.
This is it. Well, the whiskey. I'd be a whiskey man. So
Ah, you fit right in. So
This is it. This is it. This is it. So, gents, it's brilliant having you on. Continue success with the podcast. Don't change. Don't change. I'm telling you, don't be clinical and sanitized and do what you're doing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Perfect.
And to our viewers, again, just check the boys out. And again, viewers, you know the drill at this stage. Will you please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get the notifications? And we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.